Glad to have you on Wednesday night for a debate discussion post-mortem of yet another cup disaster from this afternoon, which nobody saw because we didn't get to see it here in the U.S. So it's like the old adage, if the tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it, does it make a sound? Maybe this match never even happened. There's no way there's no way to know.
That's how I view it.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Is if I didn't see it and it wasn't on TV, it's not real. Picks or it didn't happen. Unfortunately, I did see pics. I did see highlights on Twitter, so I think it actually did happen. And it was.
I've been mostly staying off Twitter for that reason and everything. It's kind of Schrodinger's football match.
Right, exactly. It's shocking. One of the Oxford goals was just a literal training ground tap in. I mean, I don't know. Anyway,
you're talking about the one where Balbuena barely takes a step to the ball.
Yes. Oh. It's like the goal scorer is just standing there and he's looking around like he can't. I mean, somebody's gonna mark me, right? I mean, something's gonna happen, right? But anyway, we'll get into that in a minute. First thing I want to say very quickly is if you're watching this, please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and then go to all your friends and family and ask them to subscribe to our channel too. I got my nieces to subscribe this weekend. I think they'll never watch, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter. We're trying to get some stuff going, and if we can get to 1,000 subscriptions or subscribers, then we can do some upgrades on the channel, which we sort of desperately need to do. So I don't even know if we have any sponsors anymore, so I won't mention any.
Drinkware Designs.
Is Drinkware still Oh, good. Okay. Drinkware Design from down in Plano. Thanks to you guys for being our sponsor. We have our first person in the chat room. That's Neil from Australia. Again at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:30 in the morning in Australia. Always good to have Neil with us. He's the only one in the chat room so far. So, hey, Neil. If you're going to be
at every show.
Yeah, no, he's always there. Well, the people will show up. Gabe will show up, and Wally and the other crowd will show up. It's just give them a little time. Take a little time. So yeah, Drinkware Designs. We appreciate their support as always. Go to AmericanHammers.TV.us. Buy a scarf. Buy a T-shirt. I think the links are out there for the scarves. Links are out there for the T-shirts, sweats, hoodies, all this other stuff. It's good. Anyway, so what we're doing tonight is a little debate show. I don't know if it's really a debate because my guess is we're going to agree on most of this stuff. So we're going to take 3 or 4 topics, kind of talk about them, talk about what's going on with the club. Let's start with the tremendous buzzkill from earlier today, when we had the great high of beating Manchester United, being unbeaten in 5 in the Premier League, sitting in 5th place, and then we waltzed down to Oxford, where my wife got her master's degree some years ago. She has a master's from Oxford. It's a very nice town. We waltzed down to Oxford, and just clearly just didn't show up. 9 changes, of course, to the team that beat Manchester United, which is pretty much the whole side. Who were Diop and who was the other one? Fornals, right? Diop and Fornals, the only ones left in from Manchester United. We had Nathan Holland out there. We did have Masuaku, who suspended in the Premier League, but not in the cup competitions. We had a Jetty up front who, oh, man, I don't know. I didn't see the game because we didn't get the game here in the U.S., but what I've read from the highlights I've seen, nobody covered himself in glory today. But the thing I want to discuss with you guys first is the League Cup in general. Now, we're out of it for this season, obviously, again. How much do we care? Do we care about the League Cup? Do we really want to save our effort for the FA Cup and finishing as high as possible in the league? Jim, why don't we start with you? How big a deal is the League Cup to you in general? Not that we have to worry about it for the rest of this season.
It's silverware. It's not as held in high regard as it once was, I believe. I would like to see any type of silverware. Yeah, for me, I want to win it. I want to win every competition. I want to win every match.
So let me ask you this. So if you're Manuel Pellegrini, do you put out a strong starting 11 for the League Cup? I mean, do you get Anderson in there? Do you get Yarmolenko and Aller? I mean, are you putting those guys in for the League Cup?
maybe not Anderson and Allaire. Yarmo, probably I would start. He just never looks fit to me. always looks a little bit slow. Plus, he didn't play all of last year. I feel he could use the cup game.
Yeah.
I did not like seeing Sanchez out there. If you're gonna go with a third or fourth choice midfielder,
Yeah.
why not just use Coventry?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah. So Cam, so two things. First of all, how much do you care about the League Cup? And secondly, based on that answer, who do you put out there? How strong a starting 11 do you put out?
So, silverware is silverware. It's the League Cup. It's like, I mean, everybody says it's a Mickey Mouse Cup, but I'd rather have a Mickey Mouse Cup than nothing.
Yep.
And so, I mean, at this point, would I be putting out Allaire and Anderson and everything for round 2 or 3 against a League One side that, by all respects, our B team should be able to beat?
Right. Yes.
No, I wouldn't.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing at Neil's comment.
Yeah.
No, and that's a good point too. Is Oxford wasn't playing their strongest side either, which is just at this point it's just a little sad.
Yeah, I know. No, he's
Yeah.
You made the point that Oxford, you didn't even get a full strength League One side, right?
Yeah.
The way I look at this is, there's no question to me that the manager and the players did not take this match seriously. With all due respect to Oxford, I'm sure Oxford has some quality in the team. I'm sure they came in sky high to play a Premiership club at home. I'm sure it's a big deal for them, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to take anything away from them at all. The starting 11 we put out, even with Sanchez and a young guy like Nathan Holland on the side, and the young keeper who apparently isn't all that good, even with those liabilities, our reserves, effectively, especially with Diop and Valbuena at center back, with Masaraku in the back four, we should win that match, and we should win it by the reverse scoreline. We should win it 4-0.
Yeah.
Again,
I'd agree.
nobody here saw the game because it wasn't on TV anywhere in the U.S. I tried streams, nothing ever worked. There was no radio feed. There was nothing. All I've seen is some Twitter highlights, which were shocking. My thought about the League Cup is I don't really care whether it's prestigious or not. We haven't won a trophy in 40 years. That's longer than any of us as Americans has been following West Ham, unless you somehow had connections to East London in the 1970s. It's so basically in our lifetime as West Ham fans, we've never had a trophy. I just want us to win something. And honestly, Dave Walker, made an interesting comment on Twitter earlier today. He said he thinks if we want to try to win trophies, we need to put out our strongest possible starting 11 every time we play, whether it's against Oxford or Wimbledon or Newport or whatever. And he may be right, but I think it's less about
Maryland Hammers.
Oh, sorry, Jim. What are you saying?
I was gonna just counterpoint. Maryland Hammers made a good comment. He got injured.
Yeah, I know. No,
That's always our luck too. We play somebody big and then they get injured.
It's true. It's true. No, you're right. I mean, that is our luck. And we have bad injury. We've had a bad injury history over the winter months, which are coming rapidly. But I just, at this point in my life as a West Ham fan, I just really want a trophy. I don't know that we need the full starting 11 out there. I think part of it is attitude. There's no way, again, not having seen the game, I think Neil probably saw it, so maybe he can comment in the comment section here. There's no way these guys took this game seriously and lost 4-0. All right, you can do what Tottenham did, and you can have a 0-0 where you get held and lose on penalties, and that just happens. That's football. A 4-0 clearly tells me the manager and the players treated it like a preseason game for whatever reason, didn't take it seriously, just went out to have a little run out, and then they're going to come back and focus on the league. I think it's embarrassing, and I think it's a wasted opportunity because I think this is our best opportunity to win a trophy was a League Cup. And so I think it's unfortunate that, one, we had Sanchez out there at all. And two, that our players who are regulars or semi-regulars, like Snodgrass was in the starting 11, clearly could not have taken all that seriously. I don't know. I don't know what else.
I would
So-
say two things. I saw Ingersoll put up a quote from Pellegrini saying the starting 11 was not mentally ready for that match,
Yeah.
which one is really bad. Two, I would say those players don't get enough game time together, so they're not going to have those partnerships to know where each other are going to be. Sloppy play comes from that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think you're right, absolutely right, in that they don't play together. They don't have partnerships. You know, we had. Cameron, I'll let you make that point in a minute. We had partnerships, you know, guys who weren't accustomed to playing with each other. But again, I think it comes down to attitude. I think it comes down to the way they approach the match or didn't approach it. And Cameron, what's the message you just sent me that nobody else has read yet that I want you to share with everybody else?
Well, so what I put it down to is games like this, we have one guy, and what I said in the message is 3 words: Mark fucking Noble.
Yes.
Yep.
If we're playing the odd combinations and those second, third tier players and everything, he has to be on the pitch. He is the guy that
Gotta have the
brings
captain.
on the teams, and
No
he is
question.
the guy that you need him, especially if it's not the matchups everybody's used to and everything.
Yep.
That will pull the strings on the teams, tell people where to be, and get in their face and make sure that shit gets done. He's Mr. West Ham. If we're going to win a League Cup or an FA Cup or anything, he needs to be on the field, getting in our players' faces.
I agree, and I'll tell you this: it would be his trophy. He's our captain.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
He deserves it.
Exactly. He deserves it. And we say this every time I'm on a show. I say, someday when we open the Mark Noble stand at the Olympic Stadium, I want a picture of him holding a cup. You know what I mean? I want a picture of him holding a cup in 2020. And I don't care if it's the League Cup. I don't care if it's the FA Cup. It's going to be one of those. It's clearly not going to be the Premier League, obviously.
Would be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice, but I mean, realistically, it's obviously not likely. And I'm
It's a long shot.
I mean, top 6 is not a trophy. Top 4 is not a trophy.
Nope.
I want a picture of him holding a trophy, and you know, this was one of our chances to get it. So yeah, I'm with you. I think if you're going to play a team like that, if you're going to put out a starting 11 with players who are that inexperienced and young in some cases, in other cases they haven't played together, or they have a lot of playing time, get Noble out there to get their faces, man. First goal Oxford scores. He's going to be all over them. You know,
I mean, especially if you're putting out guys like Holland, and personally, Coventry, as we said, Coventry absolutely should have been in the team over Sanchez.
yes.
All the things that have been out on Twitter from like X and everybody talking about how far Coventry's coming along, and Pellegrini likes him so much. Like, why isn't he getting a shot then? Like, put those young guys out. Like, put the U23 guys that are like absolutely just dismantling everybody in the U23s,
Right.
and put them on the field with Mark Noble.
I want to know.
because they all idolize that guy.
Yes, and they should.
I want to know why we took Holland off when, if you go to the One Football app, through most of the first half, Holland was the best player.
Yeah,
Oh no, that was the only positive to take out of the game, is that Holland actually looked good.
I mean, not having seen it, obviously it's hard to say. You know, it's hard to say. But I'm with you. I mean, if there's evidence that he was the best player, we should have kept him on. Again, I think it comes down to the attitude that this was just, and why we would try against Newport and get a result against Newport, but then decide that the next round is worth just wasting. I don't know why that works or how that works, but it's clear to me that we didn't take this seriously. We didn't, we didn't want to progress in this competition, and we didn't like the preseason. The problem I have with this is I think losing is contagious. And we're 5 unbeaten in the Premier League now. We just beat Manchester United. We're on this high, right? The whole club's on a high. We have momentum. We're in 5th place. And all of a sudden we go in and we lay an egg in this competition. And I know nobody takes it all that seriously, but it brings that pallor of losing back to the club. And I hate to see that when we had all this momentum built. Now we got to go into Bournemouth. We never beat Bournemouth. We never beat the beat clubs. You know, Brighton, Bournemouth, Burnley, we could never beat any of them. Bournemouth is a bogey club for us. And
I'll take a draw.
do I?
I would take a draw at this moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would take it. Well, right now, absolutely, I'd take a draw right now. I feel as though whatever
We
momentum we have, we just crushed.
Should totally go there on the front foot and destroy them, but I would take a draw if you offered it to me.
What do you guys think of Bournemouth as a club, like as far as like how they're run and like everything? Personally, I'm a huge Eddie Howe fan. I think that he's done truly amazing things for that club, taking them up to the Premier League from where did they start? Like League Two, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
He's turned that club like that. It's pretty much Eddie Howe FC at this point. Like,
He's obviously a fantastic manager. Bournemouth, to me, I actually like clubs like that punch above their weight.
Yeah.
I hate when they beat us. Frustrates me immensely when we lose to Bournemouth, which, again, would not surprise me at all if that happened this weekend. It's happened many times before. In fact, are they the ones we've not beaten, or is that Brighton? I get the B clubs mixed up. I think it's Brighton we haven't actually beaten.
Brighton since
I don't think we.
Yeah. But we don't do well against Bournemouth either. But I love the clubs that punch above their weight. I see them as being a little bit like Blackpool was, or if you go back into the 90s, like Ipswich Town had a run in the Premier League. And, there were a couple of other clubs that had, decent runs, 7-8 year runs in the Premier League. And then they had management changes, they had ownership changes. They had changes in the organization and they went down, never came back. That's kind of how I see Bournemouth. I think you're right, Cam. I think when Eddie Howe moves on for whatever reason, it's going to be very hard to replace him. They have a small stadium. They have a small fan base. And I think they should enjoy where they are for now because I don't know if it'll be this season. They look fine for this season, but I think within 2 to 3 seasons, when he moves on somewhere else, they're going to really struggle.
To me, they just seem to be lacking.
Thank you, Charlie.
Just maybe 2 or 3 full quality players.
Yeah,
they have the few spread out in there, like Ake. I think that defender is really good.
I'll take him at West Ham.
Frazier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Ake, I'd take him. Frazier, deadly from set pieces. Harry Wilson on loan from Liverpool. I can't believe Liverpool let him go.
Yeah. Well,
Dead.
They have.
I mean, they're so stacked, anyways.
I think they, talent-wise, I think they do. I think they punch above their weight. I think they have a great manager. I feel as though with a lot of clubs, the manager is almost incidental to the players, but in this case, it's very different. The manager is really making it all happen.
He sets them upright, gets the best out of them.
Yeah, he gets the most out of what is a limited team because he's limited financially. It's limited by who they can, nobody's going to recruit a major player, a major star to Bournemouth. I mean, let's face it, even Sebastian Haller, he's not going to go to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not. We're not exactly a top 6 club, but we have a much more, we have a stronger potential for that than Bournemouth does long term, Yeah, and I this is interesting. We got a debate going about a Jenny.
Yeah, I was just about to say that too.
Nobody here saw the game, so I have no idea how well he did.
I was following the feeds fairly closely, and it seemed like he was getting himself into okay positions and everything. Just that, like, finishing touch wasn't there.
Yeah,
and I mean, I think that's something that comes with time. It's his first year in the Premier League. He's a very young player and everything. So, I mean, personally, I hate going back to like how I would have set up the squad, but like we should have started with like the 4-4-2.
I agree. Give it a shot for once.
Yeah.
Kelly hates the 4-4-2 for some reason, but I think in a game like this, why not? You know?
Mhm. Yeah, because I mean, if you put Ajeti and Allaire, who is absolutely a master at just holding up the ball,
Hold up.
getting people into positions, that's going to give Ajeti everything he needs to like kind of have that confidence and have somebody to play off of and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, Charlie and Richard are kind of going at it here in the chat room. So, keeping you up to date.
So my whole thing with Yeti is I think his game is more than just goals. I think it's very similar to Allaire, where they'll make the good runs to draw defenders away from open spaces for other people to shoot. Like in the first match, Ayeti pulls everybody away for, I think, Fernald's goal.
Yeah.
It was just wide open, nice and easy shot.
And you know,
So
Allaire's hold-up play was great against Manchester United. Fornals is another. I mean, what happened to him today? Do we know? I mean, I don't know. But again, I look at the play again.
I heard he had a couple rattle the posts.
Well, I mean, that's, I guess, somewhat encouraging. It's a lot better when they go in. But
yeah.
I just and Wilshire as well. I don't want to say I wish I had seen this game because obviously we got conked, but it would have been helpful to see some of these performances more than just little Twitter clips. Because you talk about two guys I've been excited about, a healthy Wilshire and Fornals, two of the players I've been most excited about for the whole season, and I kind of hate the fact that they were on the pitch today because it doesn't give me a good impression of what they can do for us. You know, although they both really played pretty well on Sunday, so who knows? I don't
All
know.
we can do is
I think that
look
sums it up.
towards.
Yeah, I mean, it's these things are always a mystery to me. I do think though we have to take the FA Cup seriously. My personal
100%.
is that foreign managers, non-British managers, don't understand the tradition of the FA Cup, the importance of the FA Cup. That's not true of all of them, obviously. I mean, but I feel as though non-British managers and even the non-British, maybe non-English players, especially the non-British players, they don't know what the FA Cup has meant to English football for 100 and however many years, and they don't take it seriously enough. And it's our last chance to win a trophy that means anything. We have to take it seriously. I would not be opposed to a full-on starting 11 starting every FA Cup match. That'd be fine with me. That would be just fine with me.
I'd like to see maybe 7 starters, 8 starters, at least give 1 or 2 shots out there.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it depends on the opponent.
I'd love to see Cardosa, however his name is,
Yeah,
the center back,
yeah.
and Holland. I would love to see Holland get some more chances. And if that's in the FA Cup, it's in the FA Cup.
I think Holland is worth getting back out on the pitch. I agree with that. And I think it'll have to be FA Cup. I mean, I don't feel as though he's really going to get much of an opportunity in the Premier League unless we have injuries, which we usually do, so it could happen. But and I'm with you, both you guys. Mark Noble in the cup matches from now on, please.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get this guy. Let's have somebody out there who's going to get up in their faces. So this is actually not a bad transition, talking about Yeti, and talking about whether he's good enough. One of the things that we wanted to talk about tonight is, in the time you've been following West Ham, the biggest dud player you've seen, the biggest maybe disappointment, or my personal player I wanted the most to succeed was Jordan Hugill because he loved us so much, but I didn't expect him to succeed. But you know what I mean? But who was the guy you thought would be who was the guy you thought would be a star, or at least better than he was, and turned out to just be kind of crap? I don't know. What do you think, Jim? Do you have somebody off the top of your head?
Oh, let Cam go first.
All right. Go on, Cameron.
The two that immediately jumped to my head, but that was probably more just recency bias more than anything, was Kaleri and Zaza.
Yeah.
Because both of them were like supposed to be these amazing strikers and everything that were going to really turn us around, and then they were both just absolutely shit.
Yeah, those two came to my mind as well. They did. I don't know. Do you have one, Jim, or do you want to defer?
So, well, no, I was gonna say I have two from that same season. Torre and Enter Valencia,
Yeah.
and then a little earlier, or I think like maybe a year or two before that, Mauro Zarate. There's something about that guy that I just enjoy.
Do what?
I didn't think Zarate was that bad for us. Like, I mean, he definitely didn't hit his potential, but he was there and he was okay. Like, I would say that like expectation versus what he ended up doing, I wouldn't say that he was like on that same level as like Zaza or Kaleri or like the kind of those things.
Yeah, I'll give you that. That is true. He did produce.
I mean,
I don't know.
On what your expectations are up front, right? I mean, it depends on what you thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
I go back, a few years to some of the guys we brought in the Kerbishley era, even under Evan Grant. I think about like Hitzelsperger, whatever his name was, the German guy. I just didn't turn out to boss the midfield the way I thought he was going to. Radislav Kovac, Czech guy, was just awful. He was just so bad. It was just terrible. But yeah, Cagliari and Zaza. Zaza was an Italian international. I mean, that's kind
played for Juventus.
Right. That's what I mean. The guy was. I know the Italians have struggled a little bit in the last couple of competitions. They missed the last World Cup, but generally, that's one of the world's great footballing nations. And if you're an Italian international, one of the biggest clubs in the world, you really should be able. You should be able to perform for West Ham. And I thought Zaza was a massive disappointment. Just shocking,
Yeah.
And I kind of felt the same way about
shot go out for a throw-in.
Yeah, I mean, just again, and you wonder, did he not want to be here? Did he? I mean, did he sign under duress somehow? I mean, I don't know. You never know what these players' attitudes are.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't like East London, or maybe they don't like Stratford. Maybe they don't like the manager. I don't know. Footballers are prima donnas. Strikers are the biggest prima donnas of them all. But that guy was a shock to me because I thought he was a sure thing lockdown superstar for us, and he turned out to be a huge liability. So I guess that's as good a player as I can come up with.
What was the name of the guy that was supposed to be our world-class right back from Barcelona, even though he was a little bit older and
Arbeloa.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great one.
Where
Arbeloa, that's a great call.
Preseason got injured and then was only seen like at pubs with West Ham.
No.
Right.
Didn't get injured. He kicked a junior player in the head, and Village was like, "What are you doing?"
Really?
And there was just some row at Rush Green, and Arbeloa was packing. It's some crazy story like that.
That's interesting. I'm not even sure I knew that story. I just knew he was terrible, and he was, again, a total liability for us. But yeah, another one who was supposed to be, a superstar, and he just
from Real Madrid.
Yeah, from Real Madrid. That's like when Julian Faubert went on loan to Real Madrid, the most bizarre transfer ever made. A guy who was like a marginal player at West Ham, they picked him up at Real. And I had a friend at the time, a huge Real Madrid fan. His whole family was from Madrid. He's a big Real fan. And I said, what are you doing picking up Faubert? And he says, oh, West Ham didn't know how to use him. He's a really good player. I don't know who the manager was at the time. It might have been Del Bosque. Oh, he really likes him. And I'm like, okay. Next thing you know, he's asleep on the touchline. Faubert's like nodding off on the touchline because he was just irrelevant, I don't know. You guys in the chat room, tell us. You guys can go back farther than we do. Tell us who your some of your biggest disappointments were. The one who always sticks out in my mind is Savio. Savio, who goes back to maybe like 2007, 2008, something like that. It wasn't that long ago. He was a big signing. I think he was like a record transfer at the time for us. We spent a huge amount of money on him. A little Italian guy. Yeah, a little Italian guy of like African descent. Savio Circo or something was his name. And he was just a disaster. Just, like
Would Mascherano fall under that?
You what?
Does Mascherano fall under a dud? Because he did not do well for us, but he did well just about everywhere else.
Mascherano was one of the world's better footballers there for a while, and for some reason, that's a really good point. I mean,
yeah, no, that's a good one. That's a good one. Actually,
that's a great one.
Yeah, the two of them showed up together. Tevez did great, and Mascherano just disappeared.
But then he went on to play for like Barcelona. I mean, he went on to have a really a stellar career.
Oh yeah.
He just didn't perform at West Ham. Again, I don't know what he didn't like. Was Kerbishley at the time was maybe he didn't like our style of football. Maybe he didn't like England. I don't know, but that's probably the best example I can think of is Mascherano, because that guy was a star. He went on to be legitimately respected, great footballer, one of the world's better footballers. For us, total dud. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great before us and then great after us, and just rather crap for us.
That's another thing that I've wondered about is, and we could discuss this a little bit too, is Carlos Tevez. Should we love Carlos Tevez? West Ham fans love Carlos Tevez, pretty much universally. Should we love Carlos Tevez? I mean, he played, he saved us from relegation in that great escape season. He scored the goal against Manchester United, to keep us to keep us up. But then he immediately left, which is understandable. But he took off. He went to Manchester United with Manchester City. He had great success with other clubs. He was always polite to our fans when he came back. But should he be a hero? Should we love him? I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe not. And yet, if you mention his name, he's still revered in West Ham circles. Do you guys have thoughts on that?
I would say that I don't think he should be revered, but he should be respected and thanked. I don't think he should have God status. I don't think he's on the level of Di Canio and those guys and everything. But I think he was really, really important to us, and always kind of, even after he left, kind of gave us that respect and everything. And there's a lot of people and a lot of stars who otherwise could have been West Ham legends that haven't done that. Payet, Arnautovic, etc.
I think it was the fact that he respected us, that he didn't celebrate against us the many, many times he scored against us after that. He wouldn't celebrate against us. He'd give the fans the cross hammers on the way out of the ground. A great guy, don't get me wrong, and a great player.
He also, I don't remember him leaving disrespectfully or anything like that. I don't remember hearing any story of him not wanting to play or being a nuisance. Where
he wasn't.
The other two that
he wasn't like Payet. He wasn't like Arnautovic. He wasn't like, if you go back far enough, Paul Ince or somebody who left under, or even Frank Lampard. But although Frank Lampard was a different story to me, I think the club treated his family poorly. But anyway, that's a different. You know what I mean? I hate John.
That's a whole different discussion.
Yeah, I always hated John Terry. I never really hated Frank Lampard because I thought a lot of that was on West Ham and not on him. But anyway. I don't know. Tevez, great guy, great player. I've always, enjoyed watching him. Always enjoyed watching him for Argentina after he played for us. I sometimes think maybe in our, desperation to have a hero, he's been elevated a little higher than he should have been. I think that he didn't leave in controversial circumstances. He left for a bigger club. That was expected. Once he got to England, everybody knew he was going to do it. But, he played. You know, he was important for us for like half a season, and I feel as though we've had guys put in longer shifts than that who maybe haven't gotten the respect they deserve. But anyway, that's a side thought there. Let's talk about Bubbles. Let's talk about not Paul Colburn, our friend Paul, who's been on the show with us before, but the song Bubbles. You know. Now, Cameron, you mentioned this, and I didn't really know that this was true, and this may be.
I think James mentioned it. Actually, I had no idea about it either.
So there has been some suggestion that we shouldn't sing Bubbles, or shouldn't I say we? I mean, as if I go every Saturday, right? The West Ham fans shouldn't sing Bubbles, or should find a song that's not so self-defeating. Is this real? Are people really saying this? Have you seen this?
Yep, I've heard it a couple different places. I want to say it was like the Football Ramble or maybe the Guardian Football podcast there. But the fact that we sing Fortune's Always Hiding,
Yeah,
we're kind of putting a losing mentality into our.
yeah. Well,
Hey, Lee.
yeah.
Can I preface this conversation by asking, what is the language threshold for the show?
Oh, do what you want.
It's free.
Have you not seen?
It's fucking free. Go.
I was gonna say, no. Listen, my mom watches these. Okay, so I really don't cuss on the show, right? But you guys do as you wish. We're talking about. Listen, it's West Ham. We're talking about football, and I can assure you that they work blue in the pubs of East London, so we might as well work blue here too. So yeah, which one?
Whoever is saying this can just go fuck off and suck a bag of dicks.
I mean, is this a serious? Is anybody serious about this, or are these like American fans who are coming in and saying like, oh, why do we sing this negative song? We should be singing, you know, On Wisconsin or whatever it is, the American fight song you're supposed to sing. Or are these like proper West Ham fans? Is this just a wind up? It can't be real, can it?
I wind up from. I don't think it's actual West Ham fans. I've seen other clubs mention that we do it. I just found out this fact. I didn't know that Bowles is actually written by an American songwriter.
Yes. No, it is. It's an American song. Yeah, it's an American song. And Richard, yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing tonight. It's talking to ourselves. So
I love the fact that I get called a plastic fan, but we sing an American song for the club.
Do people call you a plastic fan, though? I mean, do they? Because,
yeah.
Why? Because you're American?
I got called a plastic fan and blocked by two different guys the past week.
Are these West Ham fans?
Yep. All because I had a different opinion on Mikel Antonio than them.
Well, I will say this. I mean, first of all, let's say that Bubbles is one of the reasons I love West Ham, and it's the perfect West Ham song.
I love that song.
When we win Champions League, we'll stop singing it. All right, you know what I mean. When we win trophies year after year, then we can sing. You know, go fight West Ham.
Run to the hills.
Yeah, sing Run to the Hills. We'll sing the Trooper. Oh, I mean, I heard that today. I was listening to that today. Anyway, yeah, we'll sing something by Cockney Rejects or whatever. But in the meantime, yeah, we're singing. But this is a better topic. American fans as plastic fans, and yeah, it's Richard. We are talking to each other for the whole show. But you guys, if you want to chime in, you know, chime. I used to be on News at Mother Brown. I don't really post on it much anymore. I haven't really been on it in a long time, but I used to spend time on there. You know, obviously we have the American Hammers TV Twitter feed. We're on Facebook. We're conversing with a lot of West Ham fans all over the world. About half of our viewers are from the UK anyway. I've had very few West Ham fans. I mean, I count on one hand the number I've had who have called me or us plastic or suggested that we're not real fans. There are some people who will say if you don't go to the the ground every Saturday or every weekend or for every match, then you can't be a real fan. Well, I mean, obviously that's going to exclude all but about 60,000 people at the moment, and really not even that many, right? Because not that many go to every game. So that's obviously that's a non-starter of an argument for me. But there are some people who suggest, well, if you're not going to every match, if you're not from East London, if you didn't grow up with West Ham, then you shouldn't. You're not really a fan. But I find those to be in the very small minority. I find most people don't really understand why we support West Ham, but they seem to be okay with it. I don't know what your other experiences are.
I would say I'm more of a supporter than Mia Khalifa.
Okay.
I'll never get a Watford shirt.
So Mia Khalifa, let me just say this about Mia Khalifa. And yeah, Richard, chime in on the chat if you feel like it. I don't know what else to tell you. We're just scatter shooting at this point. Mia Khalifa is trying to get away from her past. She's trying to all right. We will see you later. Have a good evening. Mia Khalifa is trying to get away from her past. She's trying to leave the porn star stuff behind. And actually I think that's admirable that what she's trying to do. So I won't make jokes about her, which would be so easy to make. And I saw so many of them on Twitter, and they were so funny. But I will be respectful. But I don't really understand, what her deal is, or why she was this, ardent West Ham supporter, and all of a sudden she's a Watford kid. I don't know where that came from. That doesn't make any sense.
I guess it was she was given a IP day. Here, have a free kit. Come have free shit at the grounds. So she was like, sure, I'll take the money, I'll take the free stuff. Let me go.
If another English club offered me that, I would say no. I'm not
exactly.
Honestly, I'm not lying to you. If another English club said to me, we will fly you over, and we will give you a VIP tour of the Emirates or whatever. Nobody's ever going to do this, obviously. But I mean, if another English club said, we'll do it. But you have to wear our shirt, and you have to go on social media and say you support what. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. Not worth it. I don't get it. I don't understand that at all. Yeah, that
would be throwing up the crossed hammers, being making that YouTube money.
Exactly. Yeah, it just doesn't. It's not something I can relate to. So I wouldn't do it. That to me is super plastic. I think anybody who supports West Ham cannot, by definition, be plastic unless you're not loyal, right? Unless you're West Ham one weekend, but then you're Chelsea the next. You know what I mean? That's different.
Uh-huh.
If you support West Ham, if you watch these games, if you participate in West Ham social media, if you're part of the community, part of the family, whatever you want to call it, there are no plastic West Ham fans. It's one of the reasons I love the club. You can't have a plastic West Ham fan. It's not possible.
Us being Americans, being 5 hours behind just on the east, let alone 8 hours on the west coast, most of us probably risk our jobs to listen and or watch most of these games.
Right. I mean,
how is that plastic?
I was digging around for a stream today at 2:45.
Me too.
Sitting at my desk,
Same here.
a stream which I never found, and then I had Ken was texting me, where's the stream, and I'm like, I can't find one. So, and we're all doing this, we're all giving up our Saturday mornings, or even if I can't always watch live because I have to coach my kid's soccer team, I'm watching at some point during the day. I'm, taking a couple hours. We're doing our shows here like this. We're on West Ham chat all the time, all day long. If anything, we're probably too obsessed. You probably should back off a little bit. You know what I mean? Probably a little bit unhealthy. But yeah, I just don't think you can be a West Ham fan and be plastic. Again, if you want to take somebody who's East London born and raised, who's been going to West Ham his whole life, and has spent many thousands of dollars on matches and merchandise and everything else, and you want to say that person's more of a fan than I am, okay, fine. I mean, that's fine. It's just, I'm
not gonna stop my team. Right.
I'm not gonna stop supporting West Ham, no matter what anybody thinks. But I will. But I think that our our fans are generally more accepting of foreign fans than a lot of other clubs where there really are, there really are.
Trust.
Yeah, where it's like, clearly they're just glory hunters.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And my thing is that like on Saturdays that I have off, like I work in the hospitality industry, so a lot of times I'm working when games are going on and everything. And I've got NBC Sports Gold, and I follow some of the streaming guys and everything to find a good stream and everything. And I literally watch every single minute of every single match that I can. On the days I have off, if it's a 7 a.m. match, I'm at the pub having an English breakfast and a beer at 7 a.m. to watch the match. Like,
right.
If I'm a plastic fan doing that, then literally anybody who follows like top 6 soccer is 10 times more plastic than I am.
Well, when I lived in Europe, particularly in Holland, I used to go watch American football in a bar in Rotterdam, and those games, NFL games, came on, late at night, right? Because we were 6 hours ahead of everything in the U.S. So, it's like a 3:00 game. In the U.S. would start at 9:00 at night, and then something like a playoff game, the Super Bowl, would be on literally in the middle of the night. And those guys in Rotterdam who sat in that bar and watched those games, those guys were real fans. I mean, they were Dutch guys, right? They'd never been to, they'd never been to Gillette Stadium, or they'd never been to, Texas Stadium or whatever you want. But I mean, they were sitting in the basement of that lousy pub watching those games because they loved the game. I would never have said these guys aren't real fans, If anything,
exactly.
More real than most American fans I know. More dedicated to it, spent more time on it, spent more money on it. So I kind of feel the same way.
Probably.
We're probably more dedicated than a lot of people who, maybe even some who go to 5 or 6 games a year. I don't know. We spend hours a week doing this. It's got to mean something,
Like, honestly, like, for me, I can't remember the last time that I haven't watched at least part, or tried to listen to part, or tried to find a stream for any game.
Yeah.
That West Ham has played, like whether it's preseason, like all of it, like.
And you do it at work, and you do it.
It's kind of an unhealthy obsession and somewhat questionable sometimes, but.
That's what I mean. You read about it, watch the games, read about it, watch all these, different YouTube channels and social media things and so forth. I everything on my social media right now is basically West Ham. Every Instagram thing that I see, everything on. We don't really even like Facebook. I only have it for West Ham purposes. Everything on Twitter. That's what it's all about. So it's not. Yeah, I agree. It's not a healthy session. So we have about 10 more minutes before Justin comes on with another show. On what is now the American Hammers Network. So I think we've mostly sort of exhausted the debate format. Why don't we just talk about, despite today's performance, what do we think about Bournemouth this weekend? What do you think, Jim? What do you think about Bournemouth this weekend? Knowing that it's impossible to discuss a match without knowing who the starting 11 is, generally speaking, what do you think?
Well, actually, I'm gonna say we can't really talk about it because Justin's show is the fixture focus opposition.
Oh, we don't want to scoop him? Yeah.
No, he actually has 1 or 2 Bournemouth guests coming on to talk about their team as well.
Oh, so he found Bournemouth fans.
I do believe so.
That's great. I know he was having some trouble finding American fans, and I have to say that that's understandable. I can't imagine that unless you're like from Bournemouth and you moved here, that it's a club that jumps out at you as one to support. You know what I mean? Although at Premier League mornings in Boston, there were Bournemouth fans, like 3 or 4, but they were there. So, I don't know. I don't want to scoop him, but I will say that as you mentioned earlier, would be very happy with the draw in this game.
Yeah. If I were a betting man, I'd put bets on like 2-2 draw.
We've been so solid defensively with these clean sheets lately that I have a feeling we can hold them to 1 goal. but I also have a feeling that they are going to do what they usually do to us, which is kind of stymie us. I would be fine with a 1-1 draw, honestly, with Bournemouth. It's weird right now that I have more confidence about beating Manchester United than about Bournemouth. Like going into these two games, if you'd asked me where we're going to get the 3 points, where we're more likely to get the 3 points, in all honesty, before the match, I would have said Manchester United. I really would have.
Mm-hmm.
My prediction for Sunday, after tonight's walloping, the fact that Noble's probably chewing them all out,
Yeah.
and only 2 of those guys are probably going to start on Sunday, I think we win, but it's going to be a goal fest of 3-2.
Interesting.
Us 3.
I would obviously take that. I would like
Yeah, I'd take that in a heartbeat.
in a heartbeat. I'd take any win in a heartbeat. I feel as though we've been super effective defensively, which is a signal and a sign that won't continue for much longer. Can't continue much longer.
Not to be a cynical shit, but as long as we stay ahead of Tottenham for as long as possible, I'm good.
I can remember the last time we finished ahead of Tottenham, and I want to say it was like 2007, 2008, or something along those lines. It was not long after I started supporting West Ham, and it was a Kerbishley team. Because 2007 was Great Escape. I think it was 2007, 2008. It was the next season when really they had a pretty good season. I think we finished something like, we finished something like 8th or 9th, and I think they were 10th or 11th. But I don't remember that.
Yeah, 'cause that was the year we got Craig Bellamy and everything for
had
2 years, and then he fucked off to Man City.
Correct. Yeah, with Bellamy and Ashton. Ashton was still.
That was a great combo. I missed that combo.
God, that was a deadly combo. Ashton was still healthy at the time. I think that was the last season he played for us, right? Because I think he got injured for England.
Yeah.
So I think
That was kind of like the beginning of the end of like kind of the Bastard FC mentality.
Yeah, it kind of was. I mean, yeah, Kerbishley, he got pushed out because the fans didn't like the football that he played. That turned out to be super unfortunate because, we ended up eventually with Avram Grant. Oh, my goodness. What an absolute disaster,
Yeah.
But yeah, finishing ahead of Tottenham was fantastic. As long as we can stay ahead of them this season, I'm all for it. I don't think we'll finish ahead of them.
I think I'm cutting out.
Are you? Yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't think we'll finish ahead of them, to be honest.
Oh.
Being ahead of Tottenham is magnificent. Being ahead of Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea. I'm just enjoying it while it lasts.
Right.
Print out the table.
It's terrific banter while it's there.
Right, because it won't last. But the West Ham way as a fan is to throw it at them while we can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It should last for a little while.
Well, I mean, given our fixtures coming up, you would hope. But we have these, like Bournemouth again. Bournemouth is one of them. We never win. We never beat Bournemouth. We're going to go on the road to Bournemouth. We just got tonked in this League Cup match. It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. But
I had it down the other day. It was like Bournemouth, Everton, Sheffield United. And there's somebody else in there.
Everton are very beatable right now. Sheffield United, that match really frightens me because that's going to be a big-time grudge match. Big time. I don't know. I guess there are probably no Sheffield United players left from when they went down in our Great Escape season. The manager has changed. Everything has changed, But that's still...
The fans never forget.
Those fans have not forgotten, I guarantee. They still hate us. And that's going to be a very, very tough match to go in there because, they still think of us as cheaters who sent them down. And they were down for a long time. It's what the bitterness festers, over a period of years. So that one scares me.
I still hope Ever's Tevez Max.
Oh, the Tevez masks have to happen. That would be too West Ham not to do that, or too, you know what I'm trying to say. It would be West Ham to do it. You got to have the Tevez masks. You got to yeah. Where is he, by the way? Is he retired or is he still playing something?
I don't think he's retired yet.
Could we bring him back for the home match against Sheffield United?
I still banging him in for Boca Juniors.
Is he playing for Boca Juniors?
Yeah, he plays for Boca Juniors.
At least he was last season. He was playing with Christian Pavon, who Argentina. who's a great winger who I thought we should go get.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know that. I could we just bring him back for that game? Can we just have
It
him
would be great.
just roll him out right before we play Sheffield United at home? I don't know. I would love that. Like the reception would be immense, and then just the whole like antagonizing them. Whatever. It would just be fun. That's all. Unlikely to happen.
I'm going to add to earlier in our discussion about duds.
Yes.
Would Patrice Evra fall under a dud for you?
Yes.
Well, he was old.
It was the end of his career,
but he did suck big time.
Two own goals in one match.
As he was. I was expecting him to be shit. I wasn't expecting him to be as shit as he was.
Yeah, he was worse than I thought he was going to be. The only reason I wouldn't use the word dud is because I didn't think he would be a particularly good player for us. I thought he'd be kind of a squad player who could help out with some of the younger guys. But I agree that he was far worse than I ever imagined he could be. So bad.
That was so shocking. He's actually over at Man United trying to get his coaching badges.
Yeah. I mean,
good for him.
Good for him. Right, exactly. That's what I say too. Good for him. That's he was, yeah. Well, listen, the whole end of the Avram Grant season, the relegation season, I mean, we brought in Robbie Keane. We brought in Wayne Bridge. We brought in, I think that was when we brought in Hitzelsberger, who was supposed to be a great, player. Oh, man, what an absolute garbage team that was. Robbie Keane came over to the U.S. and dominated MLS for 10 years after that, but he was done as a Premier League player. Wayne Bridge, I don't know. I think John Terry had already stolen his wife by then, and he was like a shell of a man. It was horrible. Nordtveit, Harvard, whatever his name was, another guy. Again, didn't think he'd be a star, but didn't think he'd be that bad. He was so bad.
Good in Germany. Could not do it here.
Kept getting played out of position. He kept getting played as a center back when he's a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, true. That's fair. But
no, that was one of the people I was thinking about for a question I was going to ask. Is aside from the obvious like Payets and Arnautovic's, maybe who's a player that kind of came and left that you kind of wish didn't?
Alessandro Diamanti always comes to my mind from about 10, 12 years ago. He was a good striker, good player.
Mm-hmm.
Torre for me.
Torre, yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah.
He just don't think he ever shot. Hurt after 5 matches. It took him 6 years to get back to any type of fitness.
Yeah. I don't know, Cameron.
Horrible.
Call us yours, Cameron, and then we got to go because Justin's coming on in 2 minutes.
Nordtveit was actually up there on my list, and then Craig Bellamy actually was the guy that I wish that we never got rid of, because that whole era and everything. I think he would have.
I'll give you another one. Craig Bellamy's a great.
He would have been a legend.
Balan Barami was another one I wish we hadn't gotten rid of. Balan Barami was a good player. Swiss international, good player. Don't remember where he went, but he should have had more time with us. Anyway, I hate to cut us off so early, but Justin is taking over in about a minute. I have no idea if these things work together or not, so I think we better go so we can come on. Anyway, Cam.
He actually made his own little thing. It'll start up when we're done.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw him put it up in the other chat.
I got to go down and make my lunch for tomorrow anyway. So Jim up on the shores of Sebago Lake in America's most beautiful state in Maine, and
vacation land.
Where I can't remember where you are.
Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, that's right. That's Cam in Richmond, where I've never been. I'm sure it's lovely.
Good beer.
Virginia's lovely.
Never been to Richmond, but Virginia is beautiful.
Virginia is
stunning. Come on by. Come hang out.
The Blue Ridge Mountains are stunning, and Virginia. Anyway, Cam and Jim, thank you guys for being here. It was a lot of fun. We'll do it again soon. And
definitely.
In the meantime, come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Oh, he's gone.